Alrighty guys, welcome to a brand new video. This is going to be a bit of a metal video, a bit of a music video. I asked my friend Spencer to come up with what is, in his opinion, the best metal albums of all time. Not his favorite metal albums of all time, the best metal albums of all time. The objective best metal albums of all time. So I'm going to be reviewing those today, and I'm really going to be I'm going to be pretty critical. I haven't looked at the list yet. I haven't really looked at it. I skimmed through it. I've pretty much listened to mostly every album. I know every album, but I didn't really get a good look at it. But we're going to be reacting to that today. Smash like on the video, subscribe. Top 50 best metal albums of all time. And if you want, I'll make a list so Spencer can tear mine apart as well. Alright, let's go. Spencer said this isn't ranked, and I'm going to be honest, that's fine. What isn't fine is the fact that Attila is on the best metal albums of all time list. Attila should never be on a best 50, 100, 200 metal albums of all time. I'm sorry. It's fine if you like them as your personal opinion, but in the objective truth, Attila is nowhere near. No Attila album is anywhere near a good metal album. Anywhere near the top 50 metal albums. No Attila album. It's just not it's not a thing. Meshuggah, we're getting a little close with Meshuggah, but it's not this album, okay? This album it's not this album. This album is basically just like it's like Metallica if Metallica and Pantera had a baby. Like that's literally this album, okay? That's it. This album is barely even Meshuggah, right? This album, Obzen, we're getting a little closer with this one. This one I do genuinely think could probably be on the top 50 list. This album I do genuinely think this and Nothing could probably be on top 50 list. Bleed, iconic song, super influential, super iconic, super massive song. And Nothing, just an album as a whole that really redefined the sound that modern metal would eventually go for. But, you know, again, these two are probably... Again, I love this album. You can see, I love this album. But it is not in the top 50 best metal albums of all time. It is simply not. There is no Ymir album. There is no deathcore album that would make it into the best top 50 metal albums of all time. If there was going to be one, it would be Suicide Silences the Background. That would be the only one, because that redefined the entire sound of deathcore, and its effects are still being heard in deathcore. That is the only album that would be allowed to be in a top 50 metal albums of all time list. That is the only deathcore album. And Ymir is not anywhere close to making an album. Their chugs are great. I love their fucking songs, but they're nowhere near close to being in top 50 metal albums of all time. Again, 2 Ymir albums. No, we're not going for top fucking best gent albums of all time. We're going for best metal albums of all time. Ymir does not belong on a top metal albums of all time list. Here we go. This album does belong on the top metal albums of all time. Holy Wars is arguably the best thrash metal song ever made, alongside Master of Puppets and Among the Living and Economosh and stuff, and Rain and Blood. You know, alongside those, Holy Wars is, you know, arguably the best thrash song. And again, you know, it has other iconics, you know, Tornado of Souls, Hangar 18, you know, other classics. So this I agree, should be in the top 50, probably even top 20. Honestly, this is a classic album. System of a Down, Toxicity. Again, this album definitely should be in the top 50. It's an iconic nu metal album. It's a classic album. There's not really much more to say about it. It's a classic album, and it deserves it. All right, Slipknot. Yeah, I'd say Slipknot. I'd say Self-Titled deserves it. I'd say Self-Titled and Iowa. See, it really comes down to how much of one artist do you want to cram into a top 50 list. I'd say Slipknot and Iowa fit. I'd say Self-Titled and Iowa fit in this list. Self-Titled and Iowa are extremely influential. Slipknot with these two albums basically created the riffing style that most metalcore would have up until the massive djent wave. So really, you can't really knock these two albums. I'd say Iowa, in my opinion, is probably the best album out of these two. So if you were going to rank it, I'd probably rank Iowa a little higher. But yeah, I think these two albums deserve to be on here. However, Rings of Saturn does not deserve to be on a top 50 metal albums list. Okay? Noodly Deathcore has no business being on a top 50 metal albums of all time list. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. No deathcore album except for the Black Crown, maybe, has no business being on a top 50. And I'm a deathcore enjoyer. I'm more of a death metal enjoyer, but I enjoy deathcore. However, no deathcore belongs on a top 50 best metal albums, except for like maybe Black Crown or The Cleansing. You could also make an argument for The Cleansing, but definitely not any Rings of Saturn album. Lamb of God. I'd say Lamb of God probably has an album that probably could make it to a top 50 best metal albums. I don't think it's Sacrament. The first half of the album is pretty good, but then it kind of falls off with the last 4 tracks, in my opinion. It's a little bit of a wonkier album, in my opinion. I think Lamb of God definitely has albums. I think Ashes of the Wake belongs on here. I don't think Sacrament does, though. Redneck is their best song, though, so, it's close. Again, Shadow of Intent, this band is great. Deathcore does not belong on top 50 best metal albums. I'm not going to go over it again. It just doesn't. Metallica, Sabotrue, yes. Metallica, Sabotrue. Metallica, Black Album, yes. 100% belongs on top 50 best metal albums. This album is the reason so many modern metal bands exist. It's the reason so many people have gotten into metal. It is arguably it is arguably the most influential metal album of all time, just because of the reach it has had and still has. Its production is legendary. Its production sound, you could come out with this album today and it would still be a fucking banger, with the production and just with the songs as well. Yeah, it's great. Ride the Lightning, I agree. This also probably belongs on top 50 metal albums. Kill 'Em All. In my opinion, this one's a little overrated, but I mean, you could probably put it in top 100. I don't know about top 50, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Chaos Sphere, I like this album. New Millennium Cyanide Christ is my favorite Meshuggah song. However, I don't think it belongs to top 50 metal albums. I don't think you could put this album in top 50 metal albums. Gojira. You definitely wouldn't put Terra Incognita in top 50 metal albums. From Mars to Sirius, however, that's where we're talking. Also, I do have every song in this playlist. In some of these, I have most of the songs liked, but Spotify is stupid and creates separate versions of the same album, so one appears liked and the other doesn't, and the other one appears more, and then the other one. It's fucking stupid. Spotify is stupid. Anyways, From Mars to Sirius is the only Gojira album I could see making it in top 50 metal albums. It definitely probably deserves a spot, probably like low 40s, or high 40s. Low 40s, high 30s. But yeah, I think this album deserves a spot. Not really, definitely not, but not really this one either. But definitely not the link. Spencer, there's 8 songs. You removed songs, Spencer. Okay, well, definitely not the link. In my opinion, not even in my opinion. Gojira just has better albums. These two are better albums. And this one, I don't think... This one probably make it on top 100, but not top 50. This one probably make it on top 50. Loathe. No, not Loathe. Loathe wouldn't make it on... They would not make it on top 50. Lorna Shore is overhyped, okay? I'm gonna say, I like Lorna Shore. I like this album, but they're overhyped, okay? The Lorna Core wave that is happening in deathcore right now is some of the most boring shit imaginable. Slaughter to Prevail is just the better version. There's two sides of deathcore right now. There's the old school new metal influenced deathcore, which is the Slaughter to Prevail side, and then there's the Lorna Core side, and I very much prefer the Slaughter to Prevail side. This album is a big metal album. If you were going to do top 50 modern metal albums, this album would 100% have to be on there, but it's not a top 50 modern metal albums. It is a top 50 metal albums of all time, so this should not be on here. I'm sorry, it just should not be on here. Testament has better albums. They have more influential albums. The Legacy is better. The New Order is better. They just have better albums. Even better modern albums. And I like some of these albums. I like some of these songs, but and it's a classic album, but they just have better albums that would belong on here more. Suicide Silence, again, this is one of the only deathcore albums that I think should be on here if there's going to be a deathcore album. You don't even have The Black Crown, which is easily the most influential deathcore album of all time. You Only Live Once literally has over 100 million views on YouTube. That is insane for a deathcore song. So the reach that album had, the influence that album had on extreme metal in general was insane. It had influences not just on deathcore, but just on modern metal in general. So honestly, if there was going to be a deathcore album on here, it would have to be The Black Crown. There's not really any other pick that works as a deathcore album. I'm sorry. Definitely not Count Your Blessings, okay? I get it, it's funny, it's like, oh, Bring Me the Horizon used to be, like, heavy, but no, okay? This is not a good, this isn't even a very good deathcore album. Like, it's a good MySpace deathcore album, but it's not even that good of a deathcore album. When we're talking about big competitors in terms of Suicide Silence, Job for a Cowboy, fucking Carnifex, Whitechapel, Thy Art is Murder, Lorna Shore, and modern metal bands like Lorna Shore and Slaughter, Shadow Intent, Infant Annihilator even, which don't belong on here, but we'll get to that later. They roll this album. This album doesn't even stack up to any of those artists' albums, really. Those best albums from those artists destroy this album, and even their mid-albums destroy this album. And I like this album a decent bit. Pray for Plague's an iconic deathcore song, but really outside of this song, it kind of falls off into obscurity. There's not really any songs except for Pray for Plagues that really belongs on a even deathcore list. This album is so overhyped. People didn't even like this album back in the day. People thought this album was fucking trash, and now everyone likes this album for some reason. Brave for Plagues is the only good song, only really good song on it. Every other song is kind of derivative and it's just kind of cliche for deathcore. Even back then, it was pretty cliche for deathcore. Good instrumentations, decent songwriting for how young they were, but it is not very good in terms of deathcore and what good deathcore sounds like. Too overhyped, okay? It's too overhyped, and it does not belong on a top 50 metal albums playlist. Infant Annihilator, classic deathcore, classic satirical deathcore band. I love them, but holy shit, they do not belong on a top 50 metal albums playlist. If you were okay, this feels more like a top 50 deathcore albums playlist, which this would belong on. This would belong on. Maybe this, probably not. You know, these would belong on. But it's not. It's a top 50 metal albums playlist. And like I have said before, I'm not gonna, this is the last time I'm gonna say it. Because I'm sure there's like 10 more deathcore albums on here. Deathcore does not belong in a top 50 metal albums playlist. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. It simply doesn't. Cattle Decapitation. I don't think this album belongs on a top 50 metal albums playlist. I think you'd probably go for Monolith, maybe Anthropocene Era, but yeah, I mean it works. I'll let it slide. Probably top 100. You could probably put in top 100. Top 50, I'd probably go with Monolith though. Top 50, you'd probably go with Monolith. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, all right. I allow these two. This one can get out of here. But these two, I allow Monolith and maybe Anthropocene. Eternal Nightmare. No. I love this album, but no. Holy shit. This isn't even the best Machine Head album. Like I like this. I love this album, but it's not even the best Machine. If you're gonna go with a classic best like a Machine Head album that would deserve to be on here, you go for Burn My Eyes, and that's it. You would only go for Burn My Eyes with Machine Head. I like this album. I really like this album. Slaughter of the Martyrs is probably my favorite Machine Head song. But if you're going to be realistic and go top 50 metal albums of all time, you're going with Burn My Eyes. Davidian, classic, old classic. Just two, groove classics on that album. Comparatively, this album just doesn't hold. Again, no deathcore. A Night in Texas. Spencer, you're capping, bro. You're actually capping if you think top 50 metal albums of all time. If you think Night in Texas belongs in a list like this. You are actually capping. And I'm pretty sure I made it pretty clear that I wanted a top 50 best metal albums of all time list. Not a your favorite metal albums. Because if this is your favorite metal albums, then that's fine. I don't care. But I'm looking at this as an objective. These are what I think are the best metal albums of all time. What the best ones are. Not these are my favorite. If these are your favorite, I don't care. That's cool. A lot of these albums are pretty good. But I'm looking at it as a top 50 metal albums playlist. And this does not belong on here. I'm sorry, it does not. Neither does Within Destruction. If you're gonna pick a Within Destruction album, don't pick the fucking W Slam album, bro. Pick, like, Yokai or something. At least that one's kind of innovative. And even then, it does not belong on a top 50 metal albums playlist. Anywhere close. Emir, again, nowhere close. Signs of the Swarm, nowhere close. No Slam album. Spencer. Yeah, nah, he's trolling. No Slam album belongs on a top 50 metal albums playlist. On a top 50 metal albums list. Top 100, 200, and no, not a single Slam album belongs anywhere close to top 50 best metal albums of all time. Maybe a Devourment album. Maybe Molesting the Decapitated. Maybe 138. But not Guttural Slug, bro. No. And don't get me started on fucking Hentai Slam, dude. Fucking Anime Grind Hentai Slam, bro. There's no way You're serious. There's no way you're serious. There's not a single no. 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 This is not even within top 1,000. Top 2,000. Top 5,000. This is at the fucking back of the line. Maybe top 50,000. Not top 50. Slaughter to Prevail, again, you know, if there was going to be a modern deathcore album, even then, I don't know, yeah, definitely not top 50, maybe top 200. Five Finger Death Punch, I love Five Finger Death Punch, but they did not belong anywhere near a top 50 best metal albums playlist. Again, fucking get out of here with this fucking hentai slam. You're trolling if you actually think this is fucking actual. You are actually trolling if you think this is top best metal albums of all time. You are insane, okay? Again, more deathcore, you know, Five Finger Death Punch. Okay. This list was trash. Again, if these are your favorite best metal albums of all time, then that's fine. That's great. That's cool. Okay? But these are not the top 50 metal albums of all time. There's like you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish right. You got maybe 8. 8.5. 8 right. Bro. Actually. 9, 10. Okay, you got like 10 right. But no Pantera, no Vulgar Display of Power. McKenty has explained why that album is probably the best metal album of all time. You know, whether it is your personal favorite, it is probably objectively the best metal album of all time. It literally has everything. The grooves, the riffs, it has the thrashness, it has the intensity, it has the harsh vocals, the clean singing, brutal breakdowns, you know, insane guitar playing, really good guitar solos. It literally has everything. It has a little bit of that blues feel to it that originally started off in like rock, right? So I don't understand why no Pantera is on here, no Slayer, no Anthrax. Only one Anthrax album would really make it in this, but no Slayer, okay? No Anthrax, no fucking Master of Puppets, bro. No Master of Puppets. You put Kill 'Em All over Master of Puppets, bro. There's no way you put Kill 'Em All over Master of Puppets. And I know, you know, you say what you want about Pink and Lark, but Pink and Lark is literally the biggest metal band since, was literally the biggest, like, metal band since Metallica. They're, you know, literally the most influential. No Korn, dude. I know you hate Korn. I know it's like the whole meme. Oh, I hate Korn, but dude, no Korn self-titled. That album literally is the reason that nu metal exists, bro. You can't not have self-titled Korn on here. You can't not have self-titled Korn on here. That's just not. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way you don't have self-titled Korn on here. Again, Lamb of God, you know, Ashes of the Wake is just better. You know, and no classic albums. I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of, you know, like those you know, metal lists overrate the classic metal albums a little too much. You know, a lot of them were for their time good, but looking back on them, they aged pretty badly. But, you know, like Iron Maiden, you know, I know you don't listen to much to them, but realistically, Iron Maiden is probably the best. Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath are probably the two best old metal bands that still hold up. Their songs were just good. You know, no offense to Judas Priest or Motorhead, but you know, I like some of their songs, but you know, they were definitely a hits over albums band. But you know, Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath actually had good front to back albums, and There's, you know, no Black Sabbath, no Iron Maiden on here. I didn't really expect it, but you know, it definitely, you know, at least few of their albums belong on here. No Killswitch Engage, arguably the best metalcore band. You know, yeah, no Cannibal Corpse, no Death, no Death. I think Death is a little overrated, but no Death, no Symbolic, no Leprosy, no Human. Like, bruh, no way. You know? No, you know? No Cannibal Corpse. You know, at least, like, put, you know, like, a Tomb or The Bleeding on there, you know? If you're gonna put an album on there, at least put, you know, one of those albums. And before you're like, oh, you'd put death metal on there, but not deathcore? Yes, I would put death metal on there, but not deathcore. You know, you want to know why? Because death metal is actually a objectively better genre than deathcore. I'm sorry, it's just true. It's just objectively true. Death metal has better songwriting. The boundaries that you can take deathcore versus death metal are significantly less. Death metal can go from fucking devourment, defeated sanity, just brutality and disgustingness to Opeth. Masterful songwriting. By the way, no Opeth on here. I know you don't listen to them, but no Opeth, bruh. No way. No Dillinger Escape Plan. Literally, the reason mathcore exists. Calculating Infinity is one of the best metalcore, mathcore, just metal albums in general. No album, none of them. No fucking Avenged Sevenfold. At least one Avenged Sevenfold album belongs on here. Maybe. Possibly. No Ozzy albums, but I think Black Sabbath was better than Ozzy, in my personal opinion. No Napalm Death records. No Scum. Like, Scum is literally the most... Scum is the first grindcore album, and grindcore's had a, you know, it's had a pretty big influence in metal. You know, no Morbid Angel. I know you're not a big Morbid Angel fan, but... And I even think Altars of Madness is overrated, but Altars of Madness is literally, like, one of the most influential metal albums of all time. At least Covenant, but, like, bro, like, you know, like, not really much going into this. No Dark Throne, no Mayhem, you know, no Bathory, you know, like, there's just not really, no Mastodon. Mastodon may be able to be on here, but not, probably at least one Mastodon record. At least one Mastodon record. Fucking, oh yeah, fucking At the Gates, dude. Slaughter of the Soul. The most literally the melodic death metal album is on here. The melodic death metal album. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know, I honestly, I don't really know. I don't know. I give this a troll out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, Spencer. This is all in good fun. Don't hate me for this if you, in terms of what you like, this is fine. You know, it's good. I'm glad you like it. But in terms of what the best metal albums, the top 50 metal albums of all time, it's not it. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, smash the like button, subscribe. Can we get to 100 subscribers, guys? We're so close. Smash like button, subscribe. All right. See you guys next time. Goodbye.